If you have been wondering where Zoe disappeared this spring, trust me, we were wondering the same thing. At the beginning of the season, everything seemed to be going according to the plan. The varnishing was finished, the winter work was done. We launched her back into the water and were already looking forward to sailing again. And then the engine died. Not exactly the start we had hoped for. At first, everyone thought it might be a minor issue. Zoe was taken to the boatyard, the engine was inspected, taken apart, discussed, and examined from every possible angle. For a while, it felt like a group of doctors trying to save a very old patient. Unfortunately, the verdict was clear. The old engine couldn't be saved. A new one had to be ordered. And as everyone who owns a boat knows, one repair rarely stays just one repair. While removing the old engine, some of the surrounding woodwork was damaged, which meant additional repairs, repainting, and restoring parts of the boat before the new engine could be installed. Every week we thought she was almost ready. Every week there was one more thing to fix. Then, while I was at Berlin, being at a conference, the message finally arrived. The new engine had been installed. Zoe was coming home. After weeks of waiting, she was finally back at the club. But there was one more major job standing between us and the water, the mast. Right after Helsinki Regatta, we gathered early in the morning to finish preparing the boat for the season. From a distance, stepping the mast sounds simple. In reality, you are dealing with a huge wooden spare that somehow needs to go from lying horizontally on the ground to standing perfectly upright on a floating boat. First, we moved Zoe from her berth to the mast crane. Then preparations began. We laid out the mast and started attaching everything that would later keep it standing. Shrouds, forestay, halyards, and all the running rigging. We installed the Windex at the masthead, checked every fitting, and made sure nothing had been forgotten. At some point, we also gave the boat a wash, removing what felt like a half of Finland's pollen season from her deck. Meanwhile, the weather couldn't decide what it wanted to do. One moment it was sunny, 10 minutes later it was raining, then warm, then cold again. A perfectly normal Finnish summer Finally came the part everyone waits for. The crane slowly lifted the mast off the ground. People were guiding it from below, watching the rigging, making sure nothing snagged or twisted. It was one of the moments that never stops feeling slightly unbelievable. A mast that looks impossibly long when lying on the ground somehow rises higher and higher until it stands completely vertical above the boat. Slowly, carefully, centimeter by centimeter, it was lowered into the position, and suddenly Zoe looked like a sailing yacht again. But the work wasn't finished. In many ways, it was only the beginning. The rigging had to be connected and tensioned, the shrouds adjusted, the halyards run correctly, every line checked, every fitting secured. Then came the sails. We bent on the mainsail, inserted the battens, and started running through all the little details that make the difference between a boat merely assembled and a boat that's ready to sail. Hours passed surprisingly quick. By the time we finished, we'd spent nearly an entire day at the marina. Tired, a little wet, a little cold, but happy, because after weeks of engine problems, repairs, delays, and uncertainty, Zoe was finally standing there exactly as she should be. The mast up, sails ready, waiting for the wind. And for the first time in a long while, it felt like the season could finally begin.